Okay, yeah, Steve, thanks for doing this. How would you sum up the trade deadline day from a Senator's perspective?
Well, I'd say that it was productive, although it didn't lead into any results as far as player transaction, save and except for the waiver pickup with Boris Kachuk. But certainly, I think that we learned a lot about our team. We learned a lot about where other teams are at as well as far as value, and helps us with our plan moving forward. So it was engaging for sure. We were extremely active. And I think the process overall is going to help us in the long run.
Okay, Steve, the next question is from Bruce Garriock at Sun Media.
Hey, Steve, just wanted to ask, how much discussion did you have, and do you believe at any time you were close on any deals? And then I just had a follow-up.
Yes, the answer is we had some very strong discussions on some transactions that we felt were probably pretty close. I think the uniqueness of it is, we're approaching this opportunity for the Ottawa Senators is not just looking at where we are in the standings in your traditional way of moving players out, but certainly we were looking for opportunities to improve our team and support our team the way that we felt best shaped our group. So we were involved in a lot of different discussions on a lot of different levels.
Do you think, Steve, that is it possible that perhaps maybe you laid the foundation for some deals down the road today? And the other thing I thought you said that was interesting going into this was that this was just one opportunity.
Yes, I think for your first question, Bruce, it certainly did. I think the conversations that we've had with teams were good, and learned a lot about what not was available only at the trade deadline, but how teams are looking to approach their off season as well. So I think a lot of those conversations are open-ended and opportunities are open-ended. So I think from that perspective, it puts us in a good shape moving forward to plan for the off season.
Steve, the next question is from Wayne Scanlon at sportsnet.ca.
Hi, Steve. Thanks for doing this. Curious about your comment that you learned a lot about your team. Is there a sense out there that maybe the value wasn't there for some of the players that you might have considered moving?
Well, I think it's on both sides of it, Wayne. I think that we learned that maybe say the value or the fit wasn't there in some instances, and also that we have good players and that we have coveted players, which is I think what's been so intriguing about been here for a short period of time around this group, but we certainly have talented hockey players and good hockey players. So and we've shown it, and we've shown that we're a good team for stretches of time. It certainly is my responsibility to be able to identify that and where we can supplement this roster and help them along, but also that I think our players need to know that they are talented players and good players, and their responsibility is to come together as a team. I think we've shown it even as recently as our game last night against an older, more experienced LA Kings team, and undermanned how we can compete against the best teams in the league. And so I think that's what I mean by we learned a lot about our team.
Steve, next up is Lisa Wallace at the Canadian Press.
Hi, Steve. Thanks so much for doing this. I guess my question a little bit is that at the end of the day, now that, the deadline's come and gone, would you say you're satisfied with how things played out, or maybe left a little disappointed at not being able to do more?
I think it's so fresh right now, Lisa, with all the conversations that we had and the opportunities we were looking at. It's hard to really digest it all. I think we'll be able to do that over the next few days. I think I'm very pleased with our process, and we identified, instead of just going out to make deals at the deadline, we identified where we wanted to get in the market and what we were looking to accomplish. Now, at the end of the day, we didn't get there at this deadline, but again, this is one opportunity for us. So hard to really put it into words right now. I think over time we'll look back on where we're at. We have good players, and there was other players that were available in trades that probably were could have helped us here in the short term, but we had a vision on both the short term and the long term for our group.
And just to follow up on that, I guess, is, you have a fan base who is so desperate to see this team move to the next level. So what's the message to them following today?
Well, I mean, I share in their angst for this team to get to the next level. I mean, certainly we thought outside the box. We were extremely aggressive in some situations to look to expedite the process of the development of this group, with keeping in mind that we weren't going to do anything rash. I think that, I hear where they're coming from. I have not been around this group for a long period of time when it comes to when you're looking at building a team and building a group. I certainly think that there's a lot of things that we could do internally much better. And I think that we'll enter the off season with the same aggressive approach that we came into this trade deadline with improving this team.
Steve, the next question is from Murray Pam at Full Press Hockey.
Hello, Steve. I have a couple of questions for you. First one being, you picked up Boris Katchouk today on waivers from Chicago Blackhawks. I guess you had also had an opportunity to see him when you were with the Bulldogs when he was in the Sioux. What can you say about that player?
A dynamic, competitive player with offensive upside. I think that for our group, he'll have an opportunity to come in and give us what he's got. I think with our situation with some of the injuries, and I think Boris is a good fit, and he'll get an opportunity to come in here and be able to make an impact. He is a dynamic player, and he plays with a lot of competitiveness and things that we're looking for.
Okay. Next question is, given where the team is right now, would you be looking to integrate players? I guess Tyler Clubman obviously had some games last season. Zakov Stopchak, maybe Oscar Peterson, maybe give them a few NHL games this season?
Yeah, the answer to that is yes. In particular, you're mentioning all those names, but all of those players have certainly progressed nicely. I think, all worthy of an opportunity to play. I think the one thing that I was always mindful of is the timing of it, and being in the American League and being in Belleville is very good for their development, and we never wanted to rush those situations along with these players. So we've watched them very closely. I think the benefit of Belleville being so close in proximity to get there for live viewings and to watch their development has been great. I think all of those players are certainly worthy for consideration to play some games for us.
Okay. Thank you.
Steve, the last remaining question is back to Bruce.
Hey, Steve, did the injuries change your approach at all? Like with the guys you've lost here, as far as your rentals go? I mean, you do have to finish the year as well.
Not necessarily, Bruce. I think, if there was an opportunity with any of the players that we could make our team better and provide a return for our group, I think we're looking at all of that. So did injuries factor in? I think you could look at us being active on the waiver wire with Boris, probably pointing to the one situation where injuries maybe came in to be a factor.
Do you, Steve, do you have an update on just a couple of guys, Josh Norris and Thomas Chabot?
I don't right now, Bruce. I mean, I've been focused on the deadline, and certainly I think with Josh, it's a little bit more long term. And with Thomas, At this point, I would suggest that it's not as long-term, but without getting all the details at this point, I can't answer that accurately.
Great, thank you.
And Steve, one last one this afternoon is from Gord Wilson once again.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. Steve, just wondering about Boris. Is he expected to play tomorrow here in San Jose? I know there's a little bit of uncertainty regarding Parker Kelly.
Yes, he is en route, as far as I know, actually later on today, to come and meet the team and be in the lineup tomorrow. And yes, there is some uncertainty on Parker as well.